Hey everybody, it's Rob with RobFindsTreasure. And how about we pan for a little gold today? So I've got these bags of 2-pound Montana Prospector Gold Nugget pay dirt that was actually gifted to me by KS Designs 14 Adventures. He gave me 4 bags, 2 is for me and my wife, 2 for giveaways. Figured I'd go ahead and pan a few bags of this for you guys and see how we do. Now I'm only using an 8-inch pan today because I'm not going to bust out the big one. I do have a little bit of water with a tad bit of soap in it just because I'm going to assume that this stuff's going to have a lot of flaky gold and we don't want that stuff catching a little bit of air pockets sitting on top and getting dumped back into the discard bin. So I'm going to end up classifying it a little bit in this pan. We'll end up using the big riffles first just to get most of the light stuff out of there, the big rocks out of there. And then once I get it down to the finer black sand and concentrates, then we'll start using the other side. But because this pan's not that big and I'm doing it in the house for fun, we're going to use probably half a bag to start of this first bag and see what we get. All right, so first step is dump half the bag into this and get the dirt wet and see what we got. So this won't be a how-to tutorial or anything like that. I just wanted to do a little gold panning, let you guys see how I do it. We're just going to dump in half of the product. Most of the heavy rocks will be on top. I'm not worried about those right now. This is probably where most of the gold's going to be because this has been sitting. And we'll see if we get anything in this first pan. All I'm trying to do here right now is just get the dirt wet. We're just going to kind of feel around in here. Now, there could be gems and gemstones in here, but I'm just washing some of the big rocks right now. And obviously, anything I take out, I can see visually. Just classifying it down to where I can work with the pan. Any of the big rocks need to come out. All I'm really doing now is I'm just going to let the water come in and out of it just a little bit. And you only want to shake left and right. Gold's heavy, so it'll settle down in there. Now that I can see a little better in the pan, I'm just going to pick out all the big worthless rocks just so they're not impeding any movement. I want to get this material as consistent as possible. Obviously, a lot of these will wash right off the back when I go to actually truly wash the rocks. But for now, I can very easily hand pick out all of the material that's not needed. We'll add a little more water to that. We'll let it go back and forth a little bit. Just back and forth. You don't want to swirl your pan yet. We're just trying to get the heavier stuff to settle and then expose some of the big rocks. I'm going to stop here until I get this classified down a little bit. What I want to really do is just going to keep going back and forth like we're doing here. And eventually what I will do is I will start tipping the pan forward and letting the water come in and out over the top of the rocks. And the water will actually wash away a lot of the lighter rocks like you hear it doing now. Now, I'm exaggerating this process a little bit more. You don't want to get the water flushing back and forth too quick, but I wanted to show you what the motion would look like. Bottom line is, all of the lighter stuff like this you can see kind of floating in will come off the top and be carried out of the pan. And that's kind of how you want it to go. And once the product fills this riffle up on the top, you'll want to shake it back and forth again, settle everything back down, and then repeat the process over and over again, just washing the rocks through the big riffles right now, trying to eliminate a lot of the light, loose material that's not going to be your gold. As you see these rocks kind of just drifting off the top. So we'll do that process over and over again. You can always hand pick out the bigger chunks right now and just keep doing this until you've got the concentrates, if you will. So I've done this several times, and what's really going to be left in this pan is the concentrates, which are pretty much going to be the black sands and any heavy stones. So that's what we got here in the riffles. Not a lot of black sand, but again, this was the top of the dirt. So what I like to do now is shake it back up, get everything settled to the bottom. Once I do that, we'll turn it to the smaller riffle side. And now I'm going to start the gold panner's swirl right here. And what we're really looking to see is if we have any gold flakes in the top of the pan whatsoever. And you don't want to be rushing this. You want to go slow. Again, there's a lot of your black sands, as you can see, because those are the heavier, that's the heavier material. And judging by this first pan, which again was just the top of the bag, I am not seeing any gold. As expected, this material was shipped and bounced around, and I'm sure any of the gold will be in the bottom of the bag. But there is a reason why I use this bowl, is so that I can make sure that I can do a second pan later on once I've got all my materials out. So now that we've done that, let's go ahead and check probably where the gold is at, the bottom part of the bag. And once again, same process. We're just going to get the dirt wet. We just want to get the rocks wet so that we can classify this down and remove any of the big rocks, which I'm going to do now. Once I get this to a manageable pan, then I'll bring it back in. All right, we've got the pan down to a pretty good level here. I still got some work to do, but I'm going to dump this water out and get fresh water so I can kind of see a little bit what I'm doing, and I'll be right back. There, that's better. Notice I dumped the water, not the material. You always want to repan your material a couple times, especially if you're new at gold panning or if your system is not as accurate as you'd like to be. A good way to test yourself is to get a gram of gold, put it in a bag, couple of pound bag yourself, and make sure you get the exact same weight out that you started with. Anyway, going back to this, just going back and forth, dumping, settling the gold to the bottom. Remember, gold's heavy, it wants to settle. Once I've done that, I'm just going to wash these through the riffles again. We're just trying to get a little bit of this lighter material off the top, like you see it sliding out. And don't worry, the gold is settling to the bottom. If you work smart, you'll get most of it out on the first pan. You'll see all these rocks, even though they're big, they just want to fall off the top. That's all they want to do. All the heavier material is already sitting below. But once I start covering my riffles, I do want to settle everything back down, just left and right. Get everything settled back down, and then once again, washing rocks. That's all we're doing, just washing these off the top, letting this stuff fall off, and then settling it back down again. So again, I'll keep doing this until we get down to the final concentrates, and we'll see if we got any gold in this bag whatsoever. Now that I'm down to the concentrates a little bit, I'm switching over to the smaller riffles because I just want to make sure that anything that's somewhat heavy will stay in those riffles. So right now I'm just doing a little bit of a top wash to see if any other material comes out, just washes out the top. We just want to be careful here now because we are towards the concentrates. And you can tell you're towards the concentrates because you can see it's a lot of black sand in there. Some of the heavier stones are still hanging up at the bottom, which could be throwing off my riffles a little bit. There's a rock there. And I don't feel any other larger ones. So now what we're going to do is just wash this back down to the bottom. I want to get it right in this bottom little ridge down here. And once I have that done, now I'm just going to take the pan once again and just do a little bit of swirls. See if anything exposes itself for us today. Oop, oh. I don't know how well you guys can see that, but we got a little bit of gold at the top. We got some fines in here too. But let's just keep going. See if anything else shows up at the top. I see a pretty good size one up there. Just taking my time. I'm not in a hurry. And you can already see some colors. You can already see some colors showing up. Right there at the top of the pan. So let me get this pan finished panning. And we'll get you a total weigh. Just a little bit of color. But definitely color. And let's see if I can zoom in for you right here. Yeah, just a little bit of color. I'll be back once I finish this pan. Well, there you have it, everyone. Microscopic gold. Looks good zoomed in. But when we zoom out, it's really not much to speak of. I got it weighed up. 1.16 grains, 1.14 grains. It's going to bounce back and forth. It's so light. But if we go to the ounces, it's 0.0026 ounces or 0.074 grams. We'll call it 0.075. It's bouncing back and forth. So now you ask, what is that really worth in gold? Let's see. Well, we've done the math. $1,292 for gold per ounce divided by 31.1 grams comes out to about $41.50 per gram. So we got about $2.95, call it $3. $3 in gold out of that bag. You can't be too mad at that. Those bags aren't promising a get-rich scheme or like that. If you just love panning for gold, then you go ahead and do it. And if you find color, great. Still, I had fun panning for this. We'll add it to the nugget that living room panner sent me. So there you have it, everyone. Got a couple of bags of Montana Prospecting Gold Nugget Pay Dirt panned. We got about 1/10 of a gram out of the 2 bags. Not too bad. I do need to do one more panning of this material just to make sure I didn't lose any gold. I'm sure I've lost a couple of tiny flakes in there. We'll double check it. But I had a lot of fun doing it. I want to thank, once again, KS Designs 14 Adventures for the pay dirt. On top of that, nothing's wrong with a little gold in the vial. All right. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this different video of me panning for some gold. Again, this isn't a how-to tutorial. I hadn't panned for gold in about 7 years, so it felt good getting back in the action. I'm a little rusty. My hands are a little tired, but I had a lot of fun. If you had fun watching this, I'd appreciate a thumbs up. And as always, everyone, happy hunting. Thanks for watching. And thanks KS Designs 14 Adventures.